Hello and welcome back to my channel, which is all about helping the over 50 woman feel stylish and confident. Today's video is a very quick makeup routine. It's an everyday makeup, it's what I'm wearing here today, and I just wanted to talk you through some of the tips that I've learnt over the years and some ideas for more mature skin, and I will link all of the products that I use in the description box below. So let's get started. So starting with the base, and I have a few areas on my face which I like to enhance and a few which I like to conceal. I've got some very visible veins on the side of my nose, I have some sun damage and a little bit of discoloration. So I don't really like too thick a foundation. I've tried hundreds over the years, and I've kind of settled on two that I really love. One is a Chanel, and they are both in fact CC creams, and the other one, the one that I'm going to use today, is by It Cosmetics, and it's their CC cream, and it's the illumination version, CC plus illumination, and this has got a 50 plus UVA UVB protection as well. Now the reason I like both of these products, is because they give you coverage, and CC, which is correction cream, so they give you coverage and correction but without being too heavy, and I like this one in particular because it's got a hydrating serum in it as well. So and I tend to be wearing this one more simply because it costs less than the Chanel one does, and they're both, you know, as good as each other. So I'm going to put this on first, just all over the face as my base, and for this I just use my fingers. So just dot it on and then rub it in. And I make sure that I blend it down under the chin as well. Underneath the eyes, but I am going to be using concealer as well, so I'm not so concerned about getting it too much under the eyes, but those areas around my nose as well, and as I say, all down under the chin, and then lastly onto the forehead. And you'll see that immediately it gives me that little bit of extra coverage, but without really covering the skin too much. So I don't like anything that's too thick a base. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to use concealer, and the one that I'm using is from Tropic. It's their Illuma concealer. I'll link in the description box all the colours that I've used on my face because I can't off the top of my head remember what they are. But so with this, I dot it quite generously under the eyes. I'm also going to put it on those spots on the side of my nose, and anywhere else that I really need a little bit of concealing. So I've got a little sort of bit of sun damage there, a little bit there. So in general I put it on sort of quite liberally to start with, and then I use a beauty blender to blend that in. I know some people say use it wet. I tend to use it dry because I think if you use it wet the product just sinks into it and you're losing it. So I just use that to blend under the eyes and all the other places that I've put that concealer. So that's my initial base done, and then I do like to set that with a bit of powder because I do find that by the end of the day my T-zone tends to get sort of quite shiny, and I will top the powder up during the day, and I'm literally, all I'm going to use is a pressed powder, and I'm going to use a big brush to put it on with, and I'm actually using one that I've got in one of these Tropic palettes. Really handy so that you can carry them around with you. So I'm using a nice big brush. This one's from Real Techniques. Again, I'll link all of the brushes and everything as well. I'm sort of puffing it liberally into there and then just dusting over really just the T-zone, not so much on the cheeks because my cheeks tend to be a bit drier anyway. So that's my powder done, that's my base done. And the only other base thing that I like to do is put a primer on my eyes. Now for years and years, I used a Bobbi Brown eyeshadow, which was one of their long wearing eyeshadows. So I then tried one by Laura Mercier, and now I'm using this one all of the time. And the colour of this one is called Wheat. And it's kind of just a cream. What I do is I put a little bit on my finger and then I put that onto the eyelid, and I put it right up here because I find that if I don't, my mascara can sometimes smudge on the top of there, so that just gives it a really good base. And there's usually enough on the wand just to, as I say, use my finger and pat it onto the eyes. So that's all my base done, and I'm now ready to start putting some colour on. And today I'm just going to do quite a nice natural looking makeup, which is an everyday one. So a couple of things to tell you about eyeshadow. As we get older, as we get more mature, we tend to get obviously wrinkles around the eyes, but I've also found that this top part of my eyelid has dropped as well. And the rules with colour are that if you want to bring something out, you make it lighter, and if you want to kind of recede something away, you make it darker. So this bottom part of this part of the lid here, which is beginning to disappear because the top part is coming down, I want to bring that out more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put lighter colour here, and then I'm going to put a darker colour up here so that it brings the lid outwards. And I'm using a couple of colours from Tropic, and I'm also going to be using one from this Naked palette, which I really like as well. So starting with kind of my base colour on the lid, and it's a very sort of light, this one here I'm using on the lid area. And I'm literally just putting that all over the lid. And that lovely light colour, as I say, helps to bring that lid area out. And the next colour that I'm going to use is one of the ones from the Naked Heat palette, and it's this one here, which is kind of a nice warm bricky colour, and I'm going to put that into the crease area, and I'm actually going to use the brush that comes with it because they are pretty good brushes. So it's going into this sort of crease area and then just slightly above the crease. Now, a mistake that I do see a lot of women make is then up on the brow bone, they'll also put a lighter colour. And again, if I was to do that on my eyes, that just makes that piece stand out more. And I don't want to do that. I want obviously to open up the eyes more, so to bring the lids out further. So that's kind of quite simple colour. I could stop there. I've just blended it in. What I am going to do is with that lighter colour again, I'm just going to kind of blend any harsh lines that I've got there. And then what you can do if you want to is you can put a darker colour into the corner as well. But for this makeup, I'm going to keep it really simple, and that's literally all that I'm going to do with the eyeshadows. Now, the next thing that I like to do is my brows, and for a long time I didn't really do anything with my brows because they are quite dark. But what I found as I've got older is they've got a bit sparser, and also I'm getting quite a few grey hairs in there. So I've used pencils in the past, and more recently I've started using this Tropic kind of brow wax product, and you can see I'm at the point where I'm going to need a new one soon because I do use it every day. I find this goes on really easily. I really like the colour of it. It's kind of a soft brown, and I think another mistake that a lot of women can make is that they use too dark a colour on their eyebrows. So my eyebrows are actually quite dark, but the colour that I'm using isn't as dark as that. And I think that makes it more natural. So all I do is I use an angled brush like this, and literally just swipe it into the product, and then work on the brow, kind of feathering it upwards. So I'll hone in on the other eyebrow so that you can see it a bit better when I get to that one. So I've done one brow there, and I hope you can see it still looks quite natural. I haven't put too much product on there. I've literally just filled the gaps, and I've covered in over where the grey hair is. So I'm going to do the other side, and hopefully you'll be able to see this one better. So I start by just kind of going upwards in the direction that the hair is at the beginning of the brow. And then I put the brush in sort of straight down like that and draw a line along. And it's that simple. As I say, I don't want to put too much product on there. I don't like these really big, thick, dark brows. Not for me personally anyway. I prefer something that's a little bit more natural. So now I've got the colour and the brows done, I'm going to do liner. And there are pencils that I like, but actually my favourite product at the moment is one of the Bobbi Brown ink pots. So one of these, and the colour that I'm using is chocolate shimmer ink. So for this, I'm going to use an angled eyeliner brush again, and I kind of just dip it in like that and kind of draw a line in the pot. And then starting underneath from the inner corner, just working out very gently. I don't want anything too thick or too strong, but I do like to define my eyes a little bit with eyeliner. And then when I get to the corner, what you want to do, because gravity is bringing everything down, you want to try and lift the eye. So at the corner, I will take it up at an angle. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on the brush and show you how I do that. So I kind of go straight up from there. So you can see that I have flicked that up in the corner. And then the same along the top lashes, keeping it as close as I can to the lashes. And then turning the brush around and working from that flick across the top. Okay, so I'm going to do the other eye now. So that's both eyes done with shadow and liner, and I'm now going to do mascara. And before that, I'm going to use an eyelash curler. Now, if you've never used an eyelash curler before, you might think, well, does it actually do anything? I must admit, I did used to think this, but having started using one, it really has made quite a difference. So all you need to do is clamp onto your lashes and just, I usually squeeze gently, pulsing it for about half a minute or so. And then I'm going to apply mascara. The mascara that I'm using is a Dior Show waterproof one, which my daughter's bought me for Christmas. I did have a bit of a problem with, as I said, mascara sort of smudging on up onto the top of my eyelid. And that was why I bought the Laura Mercier eye primer, because I'd stopped using the Bobbi Brown one because it had been discontinued. And I realised obviously that's what the difference was, but because my mascara suddenly started to smudge. So it has definitely made a difference, and it does make sure that it lasts longer. And I think having a waterproof one as well works really well. So starting kind of at the outer corner and wiggling onto the lashes. And it depends really, you know, what you're doing during the day and how much makeup you want to be wearing. But I will just do a fairly light layer for every day, and then I'll put perhaps on another layer if I'm going out in the evening, or thicken it up a little bit. So that's probably enough just for the daytime. And I do the bottom lashes as well. I know some people don't, but I like to have my bottom lashes done too. I haven't put it back into the tube. I'm literally just using what is on the brush. So that's one eye done with mascara, and I'll quickly do the other one. I'm going to dip it back into the tube now. So that's my eye makeup done. Now I'm just going to finish off with blusher and a little bit of highlighter and my lips. So the blusher that I'm going to be using again is one from Tropic Palette. It's this one. I also love this highlighter that they have. So what I tend to use is use the blusher on my cheek, and then I use the highlighter just on the top of that. So when you're positioning your blusher, again, you want to lift the face. So starting from, if you smile, the apple of the cheek and working upwards and outwards. And I haven't put too much on there, I haven't gone too mad. Now another little trick that you can do if you want to define your cheekbones a little bit more is you can put a little bit of bronzer kind of in the hollow. And again, I'm using one from the Tropic Palette. And for this, I use a little bronzer brush. I kind of sweep it in like that, suck in your cheeks, and then you put it where you've actually created that hollow by sucking in the cheeks. And that just creates a little bit of a shadow. And the other thing that you can do, I don't do this all the time, but it's another little trick, is you can put it under the jawline as well. Helps with the double chins. So I'm going to use that other highlighter one, which has got a little bit more of a sort of pearly glow to it. And I'm just literally going to put that on the top there. These last few bits are kind of extra steps that you don't have to do. I quite enjoy doing my makeup, so I like to do the little extra bits as well. And you can see that's just given me a little bit of a shimmer there as well. So that's the face finished. Just to say about blusher though, I know a lot of women sort of think, oh, perhaps if you, especially at this age, if you're getting hot flushes, if you tend to go red, they think, oh, well, I shouldn't really use blusher. But it does give you more of a youthful bloom. So, and if you're looking at colours for blusher, if you've got a cool skin tone, you want to go for more of a pinky one. If you're like me and you've got a warm skin tone, you want to go for something that's either more bricky like this, or a sort of a softer peachy colour, especially if you've got lighter hair. With cool skin, go for a lighter pink for lighter hair and a slightly deeper pink for darker hair. So last step now is I'm going to do my lips, and the first thing that I'm going to do is line them with a pencil. This is just a Bobbi Brown one. It's their nude one, so it goes with a lot of different lipsticks. And what I do is I line all the way around the outside, and then I actually draw on the lips as well. And the reason I do this is because it helps your lipstick to stay on for much longer. So quite often people say to me, you've been eating and you've been drinking and you've still got your lipstick on. This is my little magic secret. Now, because this one's nude, it's quite close to the colour of my lips, so you're not actually going to see a lot of difference, but what it is doing is forming a base, and also you can correct anything with your lips. I don't tend to like to go sort of way outside the line of the lip on somebody who's got thinner lips, because it can look very obvious, but you can do it quite subtly, especially if you get something that is quite close to the colour of your lips. And also mine has dropped a little bit on this side, so I like to get the shape back on that side by using the pencil. And another good little tip that a makeup artist taught me is to kind of anchor it by putting your little finger on your chin, and then you can kind of, rather than sort of going like this and finding that the line is going in the wrong place, if you anchor it on your chin, it works much better. And also, of course, works much better if you're not talking. Now, I don't always use a lip brush to put my lipstick on, but if I'm going out, then the first time in the day when I put it on, I will use a lip brush, because it does help you to get a really good even coverage, and then later on during the day you can just top it up straight from the lipstick. And I'm using my current favourite lipstick, which is a Dior one, and it's a Rouge Dior, and it's called On Fire. I have linked this previously. It is one that I really love and I use all the time. The other one that I've been interspersing it with, which I can't see here now, is a Tropic one, and it's called Pomegranate Punch. So that's a really nice one for if you've got a warm skin tone like me. So with the lipstick, when I put that on the lip brush, and then again I work all the way around the line of the lips and then into the centre. And then you can blot and apply again. And that really will make sure that it lasts a long time. So that's the lips done, that's the makeup complete. Sort my hair out. So there we go, quite a nice simple makeup. Very easy to do. It's taken me a little while, obviously, because I've talked through things and I've explained the steps, but this takes me about 10 minutes in the morning. I don't use any sort of fancy techniques or tools or anything like that. It's just things that I've learned over the years, which I hope might be useful for you as well. So I will link all the products in the description box. If you've got any questions, then please leave them below. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.